If you've spent your whole life just consumed with anger, or you've just had these bouts of incredible anger, pull up a seat. You've got a friend in me, and I want to have a chat, because this is the first YouTube video I've ever made, right? I'm Stephen, I'm 41, and I'm from Dublin in Ireland. And I have had a life up until last year that has just been characterized by anger and rage. Pure, unadulterated rage. And I didn't know why. And I found that when I speak to more men now, there's maybe a recognition that they're angry, and I see a lot of angry people out there, but I'm not sure that people know exactly how to confront it, or that there is even something to confront, because it's very easy for things to just become your default way of being without you even noticing. And I just want to share how much my life has changed in the space of a year in a way that I never ever thought possible. Now my heart is open and it flows, and I experience emotions, and I'm able to feel things, even the challenging emotions, but the really brilliant ones as well, in a way that I was never able to do before, because everything about me was just shut down. It was blocked and it was numbed. And I could never really fully understand why, but I knew people knew this about me. And so I had this experience where I turned 40 and I had a birthday party. And at that birthday party, somebody told a story about me at the end of the night. And it was a story about my anger. And it was about when I was 28, I think. And we were on a family holiday, and there was a group of kids there, 10 or 11-year-olds. And there's nothing about me that makes me proud of this story. And it's very hard to even say this. But it was a story about me telling a group of kids to shut the fuck up because they were screaming. And it was very difficult, very hard to hear that story. And on the night, I just kind of wanted the ground to open up and swallow me up. And the next morning, I was at breakfast with my wife, and she asked me, was I okay? And I said, I really don't think I am. And she asked, in what way? And I said, well, that story last night, I said, has really got to me. Because I said, I've gone through my whole life, and I've tried my best to be a good person. I've done some good things along the way. And yet, on my 40th, the story that I'm remembered by is anger and rage. And then I thought to myself, maybe that's the right way I should be remembered, because that's the state I've spent so much time in. And maybe you can relate to that as well. There's just that feeling of always being angry, but maybe not knowing why. And I said to my wife, I had two questions. The first was, how could I not even recall this? Because I had genuinely no recollection of this happening. That was the first question. And the second question was, what is it that would make me be so angry? Why would I be that angry? Because there's so many people I see in life who don't act like that, and yet I do. And those two questions would lead me on a journey of self-discovery and self-exploration in a way that was just unfathomable to me. Like, it was just, I didn't think I could become the person that I am now, but I actually realize who I am now is the person I was up until 11 years of age. I can see that real me. I've watched old videos of me. I know what I was like. And I've gone throughout most of my life feeling like a different person. Just feeling like something wasn't right. Never feeling fully settled in my skin. My friends would say that. They could see that in me. And when I went to a therapist and brought those questions, we arrived at a point of something incredibly traumatic happened to me when I was 11 years of age that was so severe, I completely dissociated from it. And I did that for 29 years. But along the way, I lost friend groups, I lost relationships. I went from being a really good student to being terrible in school. and a lot of other things along the way that I may share on as I talk about my journey more. But I know I'm not the only person, and I've read up so much about this, and I've connected with people who are in the same situation, and there's so many commonalities. But one of the main things is that anger is the thread that runs through your whole life. And that's what it's felt like for me. And maybe you felt that exact same thing as well. And I carried it into everything that I did, into how I performed when I played sport. I got into boxing because I was angry. I fought in mixed martial arts and in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that's not to say that those sports are carried out by angry people. Some of the nicest people I met in my whole life practiced and played Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But for me, it became a vehicle to just process rage. And everything became vehicles to process rage. Until I was finally able to confront it. And it was May the 6th, 2024. That was the day when I was able to bring to light exactly what happened to me as a child, and it was so overwhelming. And the next 6 to 9 months were legitimately the most torturous thing I've ever experienced. There was more tears than you could ever imagine. There was so much vulnerability. I'd built up this sense of a false self, really, to help me cope with the trauma. And that went before my real self. And I was able to deal with so much by being hyper vigilant, by being super aggressive, by being, even though I'm not a big guy, by being intimidating, because there's more than one way to be intimidating. And I just found all these different vehicles to help process that pain. But what happens is you're not able to just shut down one part of yourself and keep the other piece open. Like I wasn't able to, put a lid on the painful emotions, but, take the lid off and let the loving and the warm, open emotions be there. It all shut down so that I shut down. And I just went through life numb. So numb to everything. And I just assumed this is the way life was, but yet at the same time, I knew it wasn't rewarding and it wasn't for me. And I wanted to find something different. And it's even when I look back at things I used to do. I used to go out in the evenings when it was super cold, like freezing or below, in just a t-shirt, and my arms would hurt. This part of my wrist would get really sore. And that was how I was able to feel something, because I genuinely just couldn't feel anything. And it really pains me to admit this, because I lost out on so much in life. And when I went to the therapist, I did say to him, one of the overwhelming feelings I have is grief. I feel like I'm grieving for something I lost. And I now realize it's 29 years of my life that I lost. And maybe other people are out there and you're in the same situation and you don't know where to turn and you don't know what to do. And the pain is so overwhelming. But just know that if you need to watch this video and look at me and take me as an example of somebody who had that unbelievable pain and rage in life, but they got past it. They were able to bring it into the light. And the rewards that can come from that are truly overwhelming. You would not believe how good I feel right now in this very moment as I live my life. It's like being put in a jail cell in the dark for 29 years, and then you're given the key and you just get to come out and live in freedom and experience all these things that you could see but never touch. That's what it felt like. It was like being behind these bars and you could put your hand through the bar, but never enough to touch. But you could see it. And now my connections with people, my willingness to be vulnerable, my friendships have gotten better. I've had really great conversations with people. I do a lot of coaching, and so even those conversations, I'm able to relate and empathize in a way that I never thought possible because I'm able to feel. And it's not anger that drives my life. And that's, I couldn't have made this video. Literally could not have made this video several years ago because I've wanted to, but it would have just been so confused. I wouldn't have felt like the right person. It just would have felt like I was lying to you. Whereas now, it does not feel like that. It just feels fantastic. And it even feels great to be able to make this video in the knowledge that whether it gets 1 view or 100 views, or I trip over my words, or it's not as flashy, or it doesn't have a click-through rate, or it doesn't really matter. The great thing is that there's a version of me that has come out into the world that feels incredible, that I can put out into the world, and I don't worry about this judgment piece. I just want to share my story. I just want to talk. I just want to create. I just want to contribute to the world in some way so that I can help me, but also for the other men out there who are struggling to recognize that you don't have to have a life that's characterized by anger. You don't have to hate yourself. You don't have to look down upon yourself. You don't have to have such low self-esteem and low self-worth. You can work on this because other people have worked on it before. Other people have gone on the journey. I've gone on the journey and I'm still on it. And I will be on this journey until the day I die. Because I can't change my past, but I can find a way to enjoy right now. And the more I can enjoy now, the more I can carry that in to the future, I hope. And maybe the more connection I can have with people. And maybe you can recognize that here's a man who suffered something terrible in life, who has worked through so much of it, who followed the signpost, and on the signpost it said change, and underneath that it said pain. And it's very hard to achieve genuine change without some trade-off. And the pain can be great to confront those dark, hurtful parts of yourself, to confront the inner child, the little Stephen that's inside me. That's the guy who has driven my life and who was crying out for attention and for someone to speak to him and for someone to tell him that it's okay. And yeah. Yeah. And it is okay. And so, this is such a great video to make. If nobody watches it, cool. I hope someone picks it up along the way. But I hope that you know that I'm here and that you have so much brilliance and potential within you. All the emotion, all the good stuff, it's all in there. It's just that energy has been blocked. And the more blockers you can find and work to fix, the more rewarding your life is going to be. And however I can help you achieve that, I'm going to try. For all the hurt men out there who are really just hurt little boys, that's what I'm here for. That's what this video is all about. And I want to share, the books I've read, the thoughts I've had, the things I've done to help me that might help you. And this isn't some, I'm not some saint. This isn't like altruism 101. I gain by this, and I'm okay to admit that I want to gain something from this, and I hope you gain it at the same time. And that's as genuine as I can be on a camera. And so as I look at this, I don't know, 13 or 14 minutes, I don't want to keep just blabbering on, but I have this channel now, and I'm going to keep posting as much as I can. And I just hope that whatever it is you're facing in life, whatever challenges you have, that you can take the first step, because it's the first step, the recognition that maybe something isn't working for you, and that you can at least commit to asking yourself the question, what is it that makes me like this? Or what happened to shape my life like this? Or I don't know, those questions, they're all very personal. You knew what my two questions were around anger and how I missed it, and how what would have caused me to be like this. If you can find the questions to ask yourself, everything inside you will help move you towards the answer, and then trying to find that guide along the way so that you can transform your life is key. But recognizing that nobody besides you has the power to solve that problem. You don't need to look to somebody else to solve your problem. You don't need to put your faith and power into somebody else. Everything you have is here. It's all within you. So if you can find the strength to lean in and explore that and recognize that, I think your life can change. So this is it. This is the first video I've made. I'm so happy that I made it. I feel fantastic. I'm going to just publish it. I'm going to put it out there and we'll see what happens. And I just want you to stay strong and keep believing in yourself the way I believed in myself. And if you do that, good things will come. I'll talk to you soon.